Greetings and welcome to Matrix Journey Presentation 15. Magnetism is the key to everything, not least this stupid fear virus thing that is going on at the moment. And magnetism is indeed the key to everything else. This is basically how it works. You'll notice you have the red shift, the blue shift. Here you have basically the apple cut in half, the symbol of Aries at the top here as well. It also shows how what we send out comes back to us again. You'll notice also the red shift is like the arteries that push outwards and the veins draw in, red being the colour of divine masculine and blue being the colour of divine feminine. You'll notice also you have in the middle of these toroidal fields what is the earthing plane, which is where we get the idea of the planet from. So just like with political spin, what the scientism has done has taken us from this solid 3D plane, and they are trying to tell us we are on the outside of the magnetic fields. You'll notice also at the present time how it is described that with graphs and things that they are trying to flatten the curve. So it's very simple when you put all of these things together to see what is going on. Now, one thing I want to talk about initially is observe carefully nature, observe the birds. They are not worrying about what is going on. Presently, as I look out the window, they are nesting and it is business as usual, unlike most of humanity. So this flattening of the curve, what is it really about? The answer to that is 5G. Just like we have layers of skin, the magnetic fields, the dome above the Earth is, I think, about 7 layers. And that magnetic field is coming downwards. So what would you need to suspend all in international flights? Because it would become too apparent when you think even at Heathrow Airport alone there is 1 plane a minute taking off from there. They can't achieve the 35,000 feet anymore. They will be much lower to the ground, which is going to cause a problem with flight paths, and you might start seeing things like Friesland, High Brazil, other land masses that are hidden from us on all the maps. So basically this magnetic field is coming down, and this is what the 5G is really about, because they are trying to send a field upwards to try and divert what they cannot. They're going to be in for a real shock trying to do this. Now basically, going back to this red and blue shift, blue being the divine feminine, it is the plane T, a circle. This is why it is called the blue marble. What we are facing is the T, the comet, which will look very much like the sperm. So there you have the sperm and the egg. It is destruction and creation all in one. What the dark side are doing is basically following the pattern of everything else. You'll see here, if you are on a heart monitor, you get this pattern. You'll see the same thing with the sun from December. It rises till June the 21st, the summer solstice, where it crosses the equator line, basically the equilibrium, and then it falls again. It is very significant with Easter, the spring equinox. It's also what in the Jewish religion they call the Passover, as the sun continues to rise upwards. And this is where the dark side will put their spin on it. So at the moment it's going in the opposite way. It is descent with this lockdown. It is locking down your vibration. That is really what it's about. It will soon be lifted because, as they have now, it's now being described as an experiment, and it is an experiment on humanity. They are following the Georgia Guidestones. They have to tell you these things because they are subservient to a far higher power. But what you'll have is, as we go into after April, you will find that things go back to some sort of normality and it will seem like an all-time high. But that creation that they give you of this all-time high will then plummet again as we go towards the winter solstice, where the virus, of course, or something else will be used, or another excuse, to plummet everybody into the low vibration yet again. And this is the sine wave as well. This is the path of the sun. It is shown in so many different things. So that's basically what is happening. So knowing how the dark side observe colours, they observe numbers, they observe the calendar that they give us. Notice when we get to the fall, they will try and make fools out of all of us. Because September is not the 9th month, but they love the number 9 because it is an inverted 6. It is actually the 7th month. And again, 7 is very important to these secret societies as well. That's saying about being all at 6s and 7s, for example. So this is your basic pattern anyway, with a magnetic field, which it is the magnetism that drives the electric and the dielectric. Notice you've got the red and the blue. It is also representing the two halves of the brain. It's what they have twisted into the transgender, because they take everything down to a base physical level, when it's actually the spiritual level, the meeting of the minds within oneself between your divine masculine and your divine feminine sides, which everybody has regardless of whether you are in a male or a female body. So that's an outline of it. Now this is further confirmed by these two words of plain tea and come tea. This is why you also had a film called E.T. and where you get the idea of extraterrestrial. I'll come on to a little bit more about that. I was sent a beautiful painting basically showing a crown facing towards Earth, which is on this phone, so I can't actually show you that picture. Now Rosie, who I'm living with, has had a dream last night, and this is what she saw. This is what this comet or this apparition will look like in the sky, after which we will have 2 days or 48 hours warning basically. And you'll notice that it looks very much like the classic sci-fi alien with the eyes. It's the Baphomets. These are the horns, the tail is behind it, and it will, in her dream she said, it stays in the sky against a blackened sky. Everybody is going to see this and go into a panic that does not understand this. This is why we need to stay in high vibration, because from our heart we generate out this energy, and this is why we need to send out love, because what you send out will come back. If you send out negative energy, you will attract negative energy, and that is encoded in all the sayings when you say you are attracted to somebody, or you're attracted to something, or something repulses you or repels you. So it's going to be a very interesting year. The summer solstice they will obviously observe, which is June on their Gregorian calendar that they have sold to us. Notice also this sine wave. When you think about mobile phones, it is sold to you as something good. You can communicate with people. There's also the fear aspect with a lot of these things, but it is also a way of tracking you. The way it is sold to you is the opposite of what they really intend. But of course, we transmute it. We are using their technology. This is why you can find you get copyright strikes when they don't like things are being said. Take it as a compliment. Don't give in to the negative energy and get angry about it, because we just have to use what we've got. And it has given us a chance to communicate with each other and remember that the dark side are serving humanity, but it's what they're serving that is the problem. They are at a far lower level. They are less advanced beings than humanity, but they are also tricksters, so they will always do things in the opposite way. Something will appear to be good. Think about it with medication to make you better, vaccines being a classic example. But they have caused the illnesses and things, the dis-ease in the first place. So I thought I'd just leave this illustration up here because it is so important. And you'll see that it is the magnetism that drives everything. It is at the start of so many words, the M-A. The M is the representation of the Magdalene, of Maria, which is area. And then the A, of course, is very much like the pyramid. The actual source of everything, as I have seen it, is a double tetrahedron. So it's like two pyramids base to base, and it's where you get the hexagram and the Star of David as shown on the Israelite flag, because Israeli is just their twist on Israelite, which if you choose to find it, it is there within you. This is the trick that they play on with everything. Also the human body as well, just to show you the main chakras again. The heart is green, it's in the centre, as above so below. So you've got your solar plexus, the place of the sun, going right down to the red base chakra. This is why the sex industry and the dark side love the colour red, because they're trying to bring everything down to this base level where the higher realms move into the lilacs and violets. You've got the light blue, which is the communication, the throat chakra. I haven't actually drawn this in the right place on here. And then you've got your crown chakra, your corona. When you send that spiritual oil, it comes down through the claustrum, the Santa Claus. So even Satan has a duality aspect to it. That spiritual energy goes down and you have to send it back up. When it comes out here, this is where you get the 144,000 from. It's the petals of these chakras. And then when it gets to here, it is magnified by 1,000. So there's 144 petals all opened up when all 7 of your chakras are opened up. So again, they have done the twist. So people are looking for 144,000 individuals when you are all 144,000 if you choose to find it. And if you choose to find it, therefore you are a chosen. You are is real light. So I hope that clears everything up. So it's going to be a very interesting year, and of course you have this thing which will appear in the sky. And this is where we need to be in high vibration, because it's going to be big enough that everybody around the world sees it. And of course the only way they're going to see it is if we are on a plane. So I hope that clarifies a few bits. Of course, this whole COVID covert operation that is an experiment is done in a way that is going to promote and push the cashless society. It is being used to centralise everything and close down small businesses. There is also the aspect of, notice how Amazon is growing, but we're not talking about a rainforest, we're talking about a mail order system where you're paying by card, and of course they can track everything you're buying, everything you're spending. So keep that in mind as well. Try and use cash as much as possible, because every time you use a credit or debit card, it is being tracked where and when you are. It's tracking your movements. It is all being fed into the cloud. You're making it very easy for them. Even all these comments and things that we make and all these videos that we make, of course, is all being recorded. But don't hide, don't give in to fear. The opposite is the hidden hand. that hides behind many, many masks, Phoenician masks, Viennese masks, you could say. We are dealing with these mysterious sea people, hence the wave sign as well. And of course, you've got cash flows and banks out of that. There is so many aspects to this, but just listen very carefully to the sound vibration of words when you realize with real eyes and can distinguish real lies, for example. So I'll leave that one there with you, and stay in high vibration. Don't give in to the fear. Don't fall for the tricks of the demonic that will work through the NPCs, because you're playing right into their hands. It is the same with the going into the light at the end of the tunnel that people talk about with near-death experiences. That is the last place you want to go, because light is the absence of all colour. Black is the sum of all colours. It contains everything. But it's not the black that we know in this three-dimensional world. It is a totally different concept or idea of black than we are familiar with here. You can actually see in that darkness, and there, of course, there is the singular light source, which is the double tetrahedron, which is a white light surrounded in a magenta within this double pyramid. Notice also with a pyramid you have the numbers 3 and 4, the three sides. Sorry, the two angles and the base, making the 3 of the triangle, and then the 4 sides, which is the 4 representation. This control system is very women-hating and patriarch, and of course the masculine is represented by the number 4. The divine feminine is represented by the number 3. It is all pie in the sky, hence 3.14. Between the 3 and the 4, the point of it is the creation of 1. So spiritually, by marrying our divine masculine, our left side brain and our right side brain, we create 1, which, as I've said, has been twisted where they have put their spin on it and turned it into the transgender agenda. So keep all this in mind. Do leave comments, and hopefully that clarifies a lot more for people. And do take whatever you want out of this, make your own videos, spread the messages, get the message out there. It's very important we all stay in high vibration. But this world is all about picking a side. Do you go that way or do you go that way? Without this magnetism, the electric and the dielectric do not work. This is why it is all about staying neutral and not reacting to things. So I'll leave that there with you and say ta-ta for now.